The moment I heard the word useless echo through the conference room, time seemed to stand still. 15 years of military service, 3 combat deployments, and a Bronze Star, all reduced to a single dismissive comment by a man who'd never risked anything more dangerous than a paper cut. My name is Sarah Reyes, 47 years old, a Marine Corps veteran who had spent more time navigating complex international supply chains in war zones than most executives had spent in boardrooms. The crisp navy blazer I wore was a deliberate choice, a bridge between my military past and corporate present. My bronze skin, marked by a small scar near my right eyebrow from a convoy incident in Afghanistan, told a story of resilience that no PowerPoint presentation could capture. Pinnacle Technologies had recruited me 6 months ago with grand promises of valuing diverse experiences, of breaking traditional corporate molds. They spoke eloquently about the discipline, problem-solving skills, and unique perspectives veterans could bring to the corporate world. Richard Hartley, the Chief Operations Officer, had been the one to personally interview me, painting a picture of a progressive environment that celebrated different backgrounds. The quarterly strategy meeting had started like any other corporate ritual. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead, casting a sterile glow on the meticulously arranged conference room. Executives from various departments sat around the massive mahogany table, their expressions a mix of professional detachment and subtle anticipation. I stood at the front, my presentation loaded, ready to share a revolutionary approach to operational efficiency that could save the company millions. My proposed restructuring of the company's supply chain management was nothing short of revolutionary. Each slide was a carefully constructed argument, backed by extensive research and real-world data from my military logistics experience. I'd broken down complex processes into digestible insights, showing how military-grade efficiency could transform corporate operations. The presentation detailed a comprehensive plan that would streamline Pinnacle's entire supply chain, potentially saving $3.2 million annually. It was the result of weeks of meticulous analysis, drawing from my experience managing intricate logistical operations in some of the most challenging environments imaginable. Richard Hartley leaned back in, his leather chair, his silver hair perfectly coiffed, his tailored suit screaming old-school corporate leadership, the type of executive who viewed military veterans as disciplined but ultimately limited in strategic thinking. His lips curled into a sneer as he interrupted my presentation. "Useless," he said, the word dripping with contempt. "These numbers are completely unrealistic." Around the table, I saw a mix of expressions. Mark Reynolds, the younger VP of Product Development, looked uncomfortable. Others avoided eye contact, the tension palpable in the air-conditioned room. My mind drifted to my last deployment in Afghanistan. We'd been responsible for supply lines covering 3 remote bases. The terrain was treacherous, the risks constant. Every decision, every calculation mattered. The skills I'd developed weren't just military tactics, they were universal principles of strategic thinking. I recalled the words of my first commanding officer during a particularly challenging mission. "Reyes," he'd told me, "your greatest strength isn't your ability to follow orders. It's your ability to think 3 steps ahead when everyone else is focused on the immediate challenge." Those words had carried me through multiple deployments, through personal challenges, through a career that many thought was impossible for a woman from a working-class immigrant family. I'd fought battles far more complex than corporate politics, battles where miscalculations could cost lives, not just quarterly profits. My journey to this moment hadn't been easy. After retiring from the Marines, I'd spent 2 years completing an MBA, determined to translate my military expertise into corporate language. I understood the skepticism. Military experience was different from corporate strategy. But I also knew that the core principles of effective management transcended any single environment. Richard continued his assault. "This is why we don't typically hire from outside traditional business backgrounds," he said, addressing the room more than speaking to me. Military experience doesn't translate to corporate strategy. The irony wasn't lost on me. Here I was, a veteran who had dedicated her life to serving her country, being dismissed by a corporate executive whose greatest challenge was probably choosing between first-class and business-class flights. I'd faced worse than Richard Hartley. I'd navigated convoy routes through insurgent-controlled territories. I'd led teams in situations where a single miscalculation could mean lost lives. This was just another challenge, another obstacle to overcome. "Perhaps," I said, my voice calm, and measured. "You'd like me to walk you through the methodology behind these projections." I clicked to the next slide, a detailed breakdown of how each recommendation was derived. Mathematical models, historical data analysis, risk assessment frameworks. Nothing was left to chance. Something shifted inside me. Not anger, not rage, but a crystalline determination that had seen me through impossible missions, through personal losses, through challenges that would have broken lesser individuals. I knew the real battle was just beginning. And Richard Hartley had no idea what was coming. The hallway outside the conference room felt like a minefield. I needed a moment to collect my thoughts, to strategize my next move. Mark Reynolds caught up with me just as I was about to duck into an empty conference room. "Sarah," he said, his voice low and urgent. "Can we talk for a minute?" Mark had always been different from the other executives. A veteran himself, though he rarely mentioned his 2 tours in Iraq, he understood the unspoken language of those who had served. His khaki slacks and blue button-down shirt were a far cry from the typical corporate uniform, hinting at a more practical approach to business. "I saw what happened in there," he began, closing the door behind us. "Richard was out of line. I'd known Mark for several months, working closely on interdepartmental projects. He'd always shown a respectful appreciation for my military background, unlike most of the other executives who saw it as some kind of exotic footnote on my resume. Out of line is putting it mildly," I responded, allowing myself a moment of candor. My hands were steady. Years of military training meant emotional control was second nature. But inside, a strategic mind was already mapping out potential responses. Mark pulled out a chair, gesturing for me to sit. "I've got some information that might help," he said, sliding a folder across the table. "I've been collecting documentation about some inconsistencies in our current supply chain management." The folder contained a series of financial reports, email chains, and internal memos. As I flipped through the documents, a pattern emerged. The current supply chain strategy was bleeding money, exactly what my presentation had identified, but with concrete proof. "Richard's been blocking efficiency improvements for months," Mark explained. "There's a reason he doesn't want your recommendations implemented." My military intelligence training kicked in. This wasn't just about professional disagreement. This was about something deeper, more systemic. The documents revealed a complex web of relationships. Several of Richard's close associates held significant investments in the current supply chain vendors. My proposed restructuring would effectively eliminate these relationships, cutting millions in unnecessary spending. "He's protecting his network," I said, more to myself than to Mark. "These recommendations would expose a lot of internal corruption," Mark nodded. "Exactly. And you're the first person who's come in with a comprehensive enough analysis to prove it." My mind raced back to my military days. Intelligence gathering wasn't just about collecting information. It was about understanding the broader context, connecting seemingly unrelated dots. These documents were more than just financial reports. They were a roadmap to understanding the hidden dynamics of Pinnacle Technologies. "Why are you showing me this?" I asked Mark, studying his face carefully. He smiled, a hint of that military directness breaking through his corporate veneer. "Because someone needs to hold this company accountable, and you're the only one who seems capable of doing it." The next few hours were a blur of strategic planning. Mark introduced me to Elena Rodriguez, the company's internal compliance officer. A former federal investigator with a reputation for being meticulous, Elena understood the significance of the documentation we'd uncovered. "This goes deeper than I initially thought," Elena confirmed after reviewing the files. Her office was sparse, decorated with a single photo of her family and a military challenge coin, a gift from a colleague she'd mentioned. The challenge was presenting this information without appearing vindictive. Richard had powerful allies, and one wrong move could be seen as a personal vendetta. We needed a strategy that was beyond reproach, that would force transparency without appearing confrontational. I thought about my last mission in Afghanistan, where we'd had to navigate complex tribal relationships while maintaining mission objectives. Corporate politics, I was learning, weren't so different from military diplomacy. By late afternoon, we had a plan. Not an attack, but a strategic exposure of systemic inefficiencies. Mark would provide additional context from his departmental perspective. Elena would ensure the compliance angle was rock solid. As I left the office that evening, my phone buzzed. A text from my sister, Rebecca. "Always my anchor, my support system. Heard you had an interesting day." "Dinner?" I smiled. Rebecca had been my rock through my military career, through my transition to civilian life. She'd understand the strategic complexity of what was unfolding. The city streets were alive with evening traffic. Somewhere in this concrete landscape, Richard Hartley was likely celebrating what he thought was a victory. Little did he know, the real battle was just beginning. My military training had taught me one fundamental lesson. True victory isn't about immediate wins. It's about patience, strategy, and maintaining the highest ethical standards. Richard had called me useless. Soon, he would learn the true meaning of strategic warfare. The board meeting room felt different this time. Sunlight streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows, casting long shadows across the polished mahogany table. I'd spent the past 2 weeks meticulously preparing, gathering every piece of documentation, every financial record that would support our case against the current supply chain management. Elena Rodriguez sat beside me, her posture as precise as her investigative work. Mark Reynolds was on my other side, a silent but powerful ally. The board members began filtering in, some familiar faces, others less so. Charles Montgomery, the board chairman, was the last to enter, his silver-haired gravitas filling the eye. I could see Richard Hartley at the far end of the table, his confident facade slightly less polished than usual. He'd been notified about the special session, but not its specific contents. The uncertainty was visible in the way his fingers drummed nervously against his leather portfolio. My presentation was a masterpiece of strategic communication. Years of military briefings had taught me how to distill complex information into clear, actionable insights. Each slide was a precision-crafted argument, supported by irrefutable evidence of systemic inefficiencies in the current supply chain management. The first section detailed the financial hemorrhage, millions of dollars lost through inefficient vendor relationships, unnecessary intermediaries, and outdated logistics strategies. But this wasn't just about numbers. This was about organizational integrity. I began by outlining the current state of Pinnacle's supply chain. Comparative analysis, historical data, projected savings. Everything was meticulously documented. The room grew increasingly quiet as I presented each slide, each piece of evidence building a compelling narrative of mismanagement. Charles Montgomery leaned forward, his reading glasses perched on the edge of his nose. I recognized the look, a combination of professional scrutiny and growing interest. "Ms. Reyes," he interrupted during my presentation, "these are quite serious allegations." "Not allegations, Mr. Montgomery," I responded calmly. "Documented findings backed by comprehensive research and financial analysis." Mark subtly slid additional documentation across the table. Email chains, financial records, vendor agreements. each document a piece of a larger puzzle revealing systematic inefficiencies. Elena took over, presenting the compliance perspective. Her federal investigator background shone through as she methodically dismantled the existing supply chain management structure. Each statement was measured, each conclusion supported by irrefutable evidence. Richard's composure began to crack. Beads of sweat formed on his forehead, his perfectly pressed shirt showing signs of strain. The confident executive from the previous meeting was nowhere to be seen. The board members began asking questions. Tough, probing inquiries that demonstrated their growing understanding of the systemic issues we'd uncovered. I answered each question with the same calm precision I'd used during military intelligence briefings. "How long has this been going on?" asked Margaret Chen, the board's financial expert. "Based on our comprehensive review," I responded. "These inefficiencies have been persistent for at least 3 fiscal years. The potential savings were staggering. Not just millions, but potentially tens of millions of dollars could be redirected by implementing the proposed restructuring. More importantly, the proposed changes would create a more transparent, efficient operational model." Richard attempted to interject, his voice wavering. "This is a complete mischaracterization." Charles Montgomery raised a hand, silencing him immediately. The next hour was a masterclass in professional accountability. We weren't just presenting a problem, we were offering a comprehensive solution. My military background had taught me that effective leadership wasn't about pointing out failures, but providing clear, actionable paths forward. Mark shared insights from the product development perspective, highlighting how the inefficient supply chain was hampering innovation and market responsiveness. Elena provided the legal and compliance framework that would support the proposed changes. As the presentation concluded, the board members exchanged knowing glances. The shift in the room was palpable, from skepticism to serious consideration. Charles Montgomery spoke first. "Ms. Reyes, Mr. Reynolds, Ms. Rodriguez, we will need time to review these findings in detail. But your presentation raises significant concerns that cannot be ignored." Richard's face had gone pale. The power dynamics in the room had fundamentally shifted. During a brief recess, Elena squeezed my hand. "You did it," she whispered. I thought about my journey. From combat zones to corporate boardrooms, from being told I was useless to standing. Here, presenting a case that could transform the entire organization. As the board members began their private discussions, I caught Richard's eye. No words were exchanged, but the message was clear. This was far from over. The real test was just beginning. The following week felt like an eternity compressed into 7 days of strategic anticipation. My phone had become a lifeline of careful communications, coded messages, and strategic updates from Elena and Mark. Pinnacle Technologies was a pressure cooker of whispered conversations and sideways glances. Richard Hartley had gone quiet, never a good sign in corporate warfare. I'd seen similar tactical retreats during military intelligence operations, and silence often meant preparation, not surrender. My sister Rebecca, a corporate lawyer with a keen sense for organizational dynamics, warned me to stay vigilant. "He's not going to go down without a fight," Rebecca told me over dinner at our favorite downtown restaurant. The ambient noise of clinking silverware and muted conversations provided a strange backdrop to our intense discussion. The board's initial response had been measured. They'd requested a comprehensive external audit, effectively putting Richard's entire department under microscopic examination. Each day brought new revelations, each document another nail in the metaphorical coffin of the existing supply chain management. Mark Reynolds had become an unexpected ally. His own military background, 2 tours in Iraq as a logistics officer, gave him a unique perspective on organizational transformation. We'd spend hours discussing strategy, breaking down complex organizational challenges with the same precision we once applied to military mission planning. This isn't just about exposing inefficiencies, Mark explained during one late-night strategy session. It's about creating a sustainable, transparent operational model. Elena Rodriguez continued. Her meticulous investigation, her federal investigator background meant she approached each document, each email, each financial record like a forensic expert. Nothing escaped her scrutiny. The company was changing. Employees who had previously been silent began coming forward with additional information. Whistleblower protections we'd helped strengthen meant people felt safer sharing their observations. It was like watching a dam of institutional silence slowly crumble. My military training had prepared me for this type of prolonged strategic engagement. Patience wasn't just a virtue, it was a tactical advantage. Each day was another opportunity to build a comprehensive case, to create an irrefutable narrative of organizational transformation. Charles Montgomery, the board chairman, requested a detailed follow-up meeting. The invitation came through a personal email, a sign of the serious consideration our initial presentation had generated. The day of the follow-up meeting arrived with a strange sense of anticipation. I chose my outfit carefully, a navy blue suit that subtly referenced my military background, a statement of both professionalism and personal history. The boardroom felt different this time. Less formal, more focused. Charles Montgomery sat at the head of the table, surrounded by board members who now viewed me not as an outsider, but as a potential solution to long-standing organizational challenges. Ms. Reyes, Charles began, your initial presentation has raised significant questions about our current operational model. I presented our comprehensive transformation strategy. It wasn't just about exposing problems, it was about providing a roadmap for meaningful change. Each slide, each recommendation was backed by data, by strategic insights drawn from both military and corporate experience. Richard Hartley sat at the far end of the table, his previous confidence replaced by a barely concealed desperation. The power dynamics had fundamentally shifted. The board's questions were probing but respectful. They were looking for solutions, not seeking to assign blame. My military background had taught me the importance of forward-thinking leadership, focusing on solutions rather than getting trapped in past failures. As the meeting progressed, I could see the board members' perspectives changing. What had initially seemed like a radical proposal was now being viewed as a necessary organizational evolution. During a brief recess, Margaret Chen, the financial expert, pulled me aside. "Your approach is unlike anything we've seen before," she said, a hint of admiration in her voice. The final hour of the meeting felt like a decisive military operation. Recommendations were discussed, potential implementation strategies outlined. The board was not just listening, they were actively engaging with our proposed transformation. Charles Montgomery's final statement was telling. "Ms. Reyes, we believe your perspective represents exactly the kind of innovative thinking Pinnacle needs to move forward." Richard's silence was more telling than any words could have been. As I left the boardroom, I caught a glimpse of my reflection in the glass. The woman staring back was not the same person who had been called useless just weeks earlier. She was a strategic leader, a transformer, someone who understood that true victory was about more than winning a single battle. The real work was just beginning. The news spread through Pinnacle Technologies like wildfire. Richard Hartley had been placed on immediate administrative leave pending a full internal investigation. Rumors swirled through the office corridors, whispered conversations in break rooms, and hushed exchanges by the coffee machines. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since the board meeting. Texts from Mark, emails from Elena, occasional check-ins from Rebecca. A network of support that felt both personal and professional. The transformation we'd initiated was more than just an organizational shift, it was a complete cultural reset. Charles Montgomery called me directly 2 days after the board meeting. His voice was measured, professional, but with an underlying current of respect. "Ms. Reyes, The board wants to discuss your role in our ongoing organizational restructuring. The conference room where we met was different from the previous formal settings. Smaller, more intimate, with large windows overlooking the city skyline. Natural light seemed to illuminate the path forward, a metaphorical representation of the transparency we were bringing to the organization. "We're creating a new position," Charles explained, sliding a folder across the table. "Director of Operational Transformation and Strategic Efficiency." The title was more than just a job description. It was a recognition of the comprehensive approach we demonstrated. The compensation package was substantial, but that wasn't what mattered most. This was about creating meaningful change, about transforming an organization from within. My military career had always been about service, about making systems work more effectively for those who depended on them. Mark Reynolds was the first to congratulate me officially. "You've changed the entire game," he said, a mix of admiration and professional respect in his voice. Our shared military background created an unspoken understanding. This was about more than personal victory. Elena. Rodriguez continued her investigation, uncovering layers of inefficiency that went beyond Richard's immediate department. Each document, each email chain revealed a systemic approach to organizational opacity that had existed for years. The company began implementing our proposed changes immediately. Supply chain efficiency improved, cost savings became tangible, and employee morale started to shift. It was like watching an organization breathe differently, more openly, more confidently. My sister Rebecca arranged a celebration dinner. The small Italian restaurant we'd frequented for years became a place of professional triumph. Over wine and pasta, we dissected the journey that had brought me to this moment. "Remember when you first left the Marines?" Rebecca asked, raising her glass. "You were worried about finding your place in the civilian world. I thought about my transition, the challenges, the uncertainties, the moments of doubt. Military veterans often struggle to translate their skills to corporate environments. I had become living proof that those skills were not just transferable, but transformative. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of strategic planning, implementation meetings, and organizational redesign. My team grew, bringing in veterans and professionals who understood the value of systematic, mission-driven approaches to business. Charles Montgomery invited me to speak at an industry conference about organizational transformation. My presentation, drawing parallels between military strategic planning and corporate efficiency, became a turning point for how companies viewed veteran recruitment and leadership. Richard Hartley's legal team attempted to push back, filing grievance papers, and attempting to challenge the investigation. But the evidence was overwhelming. His network of influence had been systematically dismantled by the very transparency he had tried to prevent. My phone rang one quiet afternoon, an unknown number. I recognized the voice immediately. It was Elena Rodriguez. "You won't believe what we just uncovered," she said, her voice filled with a mixture of professional excitement and ethical determination. Additional financial irregularities had surfaced. Contracts that predated my arrival, vendor relationships that existed purely through personal connections, a web of corporate manipulation that went deeper than we'd initially suspected. The transformation was becoming more than just an organizational shift. It was a complete cultural reset for Pinnacle Technologies. Mark Reynolds joined our expanding team, bringing his own expertise in operational strategy. Together, we were creating a new model of corporate leadership, one that valued transparency, efficiency, and ethical decision-making. As I looked out the window of my new office, the city stretched before me, a landscape of possibility. The woman who had been called useless just months ago was now leading one of the most significant organizational transformations in the company's history. The journey from military service to corporate leadership hadn't been easy. But standing here, watching an organization transform, I knew every challenge had been worth it. The real mission was just beginning. The media storm hit like a tactical deployment. Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, Forbes. Everyone wanted to understand the story behind Pinnacle Technologies' unprecedented organizational transformation. My phone became a constant hub of interview requests, speaking invitations, and strategic communications. "They're calling you the corporate veteran strategist," Rebecca told me during our weekly lunch, sliding a magazine across the table with my photo on the cover. The headline read, "From Battlefield to Boardroom: How Sarah Reyes Reimagined Corporate Leadership." The attention was unexpected, but not unwelcome. Each interview became an opportunity to highlight the unique skills veterans bring to corporate environments. My military background wasn't just a footnote, it was the core of a new leadership philosophy. Charles Montgomery had become more than just a board chairman. He'd become a mentor, understanding the broader implications of the organizational transformation we'd initiated. Weekly strategy sessions explored how our approach could become a blueprint for other companies. Elena Rodriguez continued her investigative work, uncovering layers of systemic inefficiencies that extended far beyond Pinnacle Technologies. Her findings were becoming a catalyst for broader corporate accountability. Mark Reynolds had fully integrated into our transformation team. His logistics expertise, combined with my strategic planning background, created a powerful synergy that was reshaping how companies approached operational efficiency. The veterans' professional network began reaching out. Speaking engagements, consulting opportunities, invitations to share our transformation model. What had started as a single department's restructuring was becoming a movement. A national veterans professional conference invited me to deliver the keynote address. The convention center in Washington, D.C. was packed with veterans from various branches, all seeking to translate their military skills into corporate success. "Leadership isn't about a title," I told the crowd. "It's about creating value, maintaining integrity, and understanding that every mission, whether in a combat zone or a corporate environment, requires strategic thinking, adaptability, and unwavering commitment." The standing ovation lasted several minutes. Veterans approached me afterward, sharing their own stories of transition, of challenges, of the unique perspective military service provides. Richard Hartley's legal challenges continued, but they were increasingly ineffective. The comprehensive documentation we'd collected left little room for alternative narratives. His network of influence had been systematically dismantled. My new role at Pinnacle Technologies was more than just a job. It was a mission of organizational transformation. We began developing a veteran recruitment and leadership development program that would become a model for corporate America. The financial results spoke for themselves. The efficiency improvements we'd implemented translated into millions of dollars in savings, increased productivity, and a more transparent operational model. Unexpected support came from various sectors. Other tech companies began reaching out, interested in understanding our transformation methodology. What had seemed like a radical approach was quickly becoming a best practice. A documentary filmmaker approached me about capturing our organizational transformation journey. The story was becoming bigger than Pinnacle Technologies. It was about challenging traditional corporate leadership models. My military contacts began providing additional insights. Retired generals, strategic planners, logistics experts, a network of professionals who understood the value of systematic, mission-driven approaches to organizational management. The personal impact was profound. My daughter Emma, now in college, saw a different version of professional success. "Mom," she told me during a video call, "you're showing people that leadership isn't about fitting in. It's about creating meaningful change." Charles Montgomery called with an unexpected proposal. The board wanted to expand our transformation approach across their entire portfolio of companies. What we'd achieved at Pinnacle was just the beginning. Elena Rodriguez discovered additional layers of systemic inefficiencies that extended beyond our initial investigation. Each revelation became an opportunity for meaningful change, for creating more transparent, efficient organizational models. Mark Reynolds and I developed a comprehensive leadership training program specifically designed for veterans transitioning to corporate environments. It wasn't just about job placement, it was about leveraging unique skills and perspectives. The speaking invitations continued. Harvard Business School, MIT, corporate leadership conferences. Each platform became an opportunity to challenge traditional leadership paradigms. My military service had taught me that true leadership wasn't about personal glory. It was about creating systems that worked, about supporting those around you, about maintaining integrity in the face of significant challenges. As I looked out the window of my office, watching the city move below, I realized we were part of something much larger than a single corporate transformation. We were reimagining how organizations could operate, how leadership could be defined. The mission continues. The National Veterans Leadership Summit in Chicago marked a pivotal moment. Hundreds of military veterans from across different sectors gathered to explore professional transformation, with our Pinnacle Technologies model at the center of discussions. My keynote address felt like a culmination of everything we'd accomplished. The convention center's massive hall was filled with veterans from every branch of military service, each with a story of transition, of challenges, of resilience. Leadership isn't about a uniform or a title, I told the crowd. It's about the principles we've learned in service: adaptability, strategic thinking, unwavering commitment to mission and team. Charles Montgomery had accompanied me, representing Pinnacle's commitment to veteran professional development. His presence signaled more than corporate support. It represented a fundamental shift in how businesses viewed military experience. Elena Rodriguez had uncovered additional systemic challenges facing veterans in corporate environments. Her research revealed shocking statistics. Veterans with exceptional skills were often overlooked or undervalued in traditional hiring processes. Our veteran leadership development program was becoming a blueprint for corporate America. Major tech companies, financial institutions, and innovative startups were now reaching out, wanting to understand our transformative approach. Mark Reynolds had been instrumental in developing our comprehensive training modules. Drawing from our collective military and corporate experiences, we'd created a program that wasn't just about job placement, but about leveraging unique veteran perspectives. The media attention continued to grow. A feature in Harvard Business Review detailed our organizational transformation, highlighting how military strategic thinking could revolutionize corporate leadership models. Unexpected support came from multiple sectors. Retired military generals, corporate executives, and professional development experts began collaborating on expanding our vision of veteran professional integration. My daughter, Emma, now completing her graduate degree in organizational psychology, had become increasingly interested in our work. "Mom," she told me during a recent call, "you're basically creating a new paradigm of professional development." The legal battles surrounding Richard Hartley's dismissal had finally concluded. The comprehensive documentation we'd collected left little room for his continued challenges. His attempts to discredit our findings had ultimately failed. A documentary team had been following our journey, capturing the transformation from multiple perspectives. Interviews with team members, board executives, and veterans revealed the broader impact of our work. The speaking invitations continued to pour in. MIT, Stanford, corporate leadership conferences. Each platform became an opportunity to challenge traditional leadership paradigms and highlight the unique skills veterans bring to professional environments. During a break in the conference, a young Marine veteran approached me. Her eyes were filled with a mixture of hope and determination. "I never thought my military experience would be valuable in corporate settings," she said. "Now I see a completely different path." Charles Montgomery announced a significant expansion, of our veteran recruitment and leadership development initiatives, Pinnacle Technologies would commit significant resources to creating professional opportunities for military veterans across multiple industries. Elena Rodriguez's continued research revealed deeper systemic challenges. Her data showed that veterans possessed unique skills that were often overlooked: strategic thinking, adaptability, team-oriented leadership, and crisis management capabilities. Mark Reynolds had developed an advanced mentorship program connecting veteran professionals across different sectors. The network was becoming a powerful resource for professional development and strategic collaboration. The financial results of our organizational transformation continued to impress. Pinnacle Technologies had seen unprecedented efficiency improvements, cost savings, and operational transparency. My sister Rebecca, now a senior partner at a prominent legal firm, helped develop legal frameworks to support veteran professional integration. Her expertise added another layer of credibility to our expanding initiative. The Veterans Leadership Summit became more than just a conference. It was a movement, a collective reimagining of professional potential for those who had served their country. As I looked across the convention center, watching veterans from different generations and service branches connect, share experiences, and explore new professional horizons, I felt a profound sense of purpose. This wasn't just about corporate transformation. This was about honoring service, recognizing unique skills, and creating meaningful opportunities for those who had dedicated themselves to protecting our country. The mission continues, evolving, expanding, creating new possibilities with each passing moment. The winter conference in Washington, D.C. brought unexpected challenges. A surprise announcement from the Department of Defense would test everything we had built over the past year. Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Michael Rodriguez, took the stage with a provocative proposal. A new federal initiative would directly integrate veteran professional development programs with major corporate platforms, using our Pinnacle Technologies model as the primary blueprint. My phone buzzed continuously. Congratulatory messages from military contacts, corporate executives, and professional development experts created a constant stream of notifications. Charles Montgomery sent a personal text. "This is bigger than we imagined." Elena Rodriguez had been working behind the scenes, providing comprehensive data that supported the federal initiative. Her research documented the exceptional performance of veteran professionals across multiple corporate sectors, providing irrefutable evidence of their unique value. Mark Reynolds coordinated with military leadership to develop more comprehensive transition programs. His own experiences as a veteran and corporate strategist made him uniquely qualified to bridge the military and corporate worlds. The potential impact was staggering. Thousands of veterans could now access structured professional development pathways, transforming how military service was perceived in corporate environments. Rebecca, my sister, provided critical legal framework support. Her expertise in corporate law helped design compliance structures that would protect both veteran professionals and participating corporations. A documentary crew captured the entire conference, recording the moments that would potentially reshape veteran professional integration. Interviews with veterans, corporate leaders, and government officials created a comprehensive narrative of transformation. My daughter Emma, now completing her graduate research, saw the broader implications. "This isn't just a program," she told me during a late-night video call. "This is a fundamental reimagining of professional potential." Richard Hartley's continued legal challenges had become increasingly irrelevant. The comprehensive documentation and successful transformation at Pinnacle Technologies had effectively neutralized his attempts to discredit our work. The Department of Defense presentation included detailed metrics demonstrating the exceptional performance of veterans in corporate environments. Strategic thinking, adaptability, and team-oriented leadership were highlighted as critical professional attributes. Unexpected support came from technology sector leaders. Major tech companies began developing specific recruitment and development programs targeting military veterans, recognizing their unique skill sets. During a private strategy session, Secretary Rodriguez shared the deeper motivations behind the initiative. "We're not just creating job opportunities," he explained. "We're providing a pathway for meaningful professional integration." Charles Montgomery's involvement had transformed from corporate support to national advocacy. Pinnacle Technologies was now seen as a model for veteran professional development, with our strategies being studied nationwide. Elena Rodriguez continued her research, uncovering deeper insights into veteran professional capabilities. Her comprehensive data collection revealed exceptional performance metrics across multiple corporate sectors. Mark Reynolds developed advanced mentorship protocols that would connect veteran professionals across different industries. The networking potential was creating unprecedented professional opportunities. The financial implications were significant. Corporations implementing veteran-focused professional development programs were seeing measurable improvements in operational efficiency and team performance. A breakthrough came during a closed-door meeting with corporate leadership representatives. Our comprehensive approach to veteran professional integration was being recognized as a potential standard for corporate recruitment and development. The media attention continued to grow. Features in major publications highlighted the transformative potential of veteran professional development, challenging traditional hiring and integration models. International interest emerged unexpectedly. Military organizations from allied countries began reaching out, wanting to understand our approach to veteran professional integration. As the conference concluded, I reflected on our journey. From a single confrontation in a corporate boardroom to a national initiative transforming veteran professional opportunities. The room buzzed with potential. Veterans from different generations connected, shared experiences, and explored unprecedented professional horizons. This was more than a program. This was a movement, reimagining professional potential for those who had served their country. The mission continues, expanding, creating new possibilities with each passing moment. The personal impact of our journey began to reveal itself in unexpected ways. A series of letters arrived at my office, each telling a story of transformation that went far beyond professional development. Veterans from across the country shared experiences of rediscovering their purpose. One letter, from a Marine named Jason Collins, detailed how our program had helped him transition from feeling lost after military service to becoming a lead project manager at a major tech company. Charles Montgomery called with an invitation to testify before a congressional committee. The hearing would explore veteran professional integration as a national strategic initiative. My military background and corporate transformation would be front and center. Elena Rodriguez continued, her research now expanding into long-term impact studies. Her data was revealing something profound. Veterans who went through our comprehensive development program were outperforming traditional hires by significant margins. Mark Reynolds had developed an advanced mentorship network that was transforming veteran professional connections. What had started as a corporate initiative was becoming a national support system. The congressional hearing was unlike any professional experience I'd encountered. Senators and representatives from both parties listened intently as I detailed our approach to veteran professional development. The room was charged with a sense of potential transformation. It's not about charity, I told the committee. It's about recognizing the unique skills veterans bring to professional environments. Strategic thinking, adaptability, team-oriented, leadership. These are not just military skills. These are universal leadership capabilities. Rebecca provided critical legal support, helping draft potential legislation that would support veteran professional integration across federal agencies and private sectors. My daughter Emma's graduate research had become directly connected to our work. She was exploring the psychological impact of professional transformation for veterans, documenting the profound personal and professional changes we were facilitating. Richard Hartley's continued attempts to challenge our work had become Increasingly futile. The comprehensive documentation, successful outcomes, and national recognition had effectively marginalized his previous influence. The Department of Defense began developing a national framework based on our Pinnacle Technologies model. Comprehensive. Veteran professional development was becoming a strategic national priority. Unexpected support emerged from corporate leadership across multiple sectors. Tech companies, financial institutions, and innovative startups were now actively recruiting veterans, recognizing their unique professional capabilities. A breakthrough came during a private meeting with national veteran support organizations. Our approach was being seen as a holistic model of professional and personal transformation. Charles Montgomery's involvement had expanded beyond corporate support. He was now actively advocating for veteran professional development at national leadership conferences and strategic planning sessions. The financial metrics were compelling. Corporations implementing our veteran professional development strategies were seeing measurable improvements in team performance, innovation, and operational efficiency. Media coverage continued to highlight the transformative potential of our work. Major publications explored how veteran skills could reshape corporate leadership models. International interest grew unexpectedly. Military organizations from allied countries reached out, wanting to understand our comprehensive approach to veteran professional integration. During a speaking engagement at a national veterans conference, I shared a deeply personal perspective. "Your military service doesn't define your limitations," I told the audience. "It defines your potential." The personal stories continued to pour in. Veterans who had struggled with professional transition were now leading teams, developing innovative strategies, and reshaping corporate environments. Mark Reynolds had developed a comprehensive mentorship network that connected veterans across different industries. The professional support system was becoming a powerful resource for transformation. Elena Rodriguez's research continued to uncover profound insights. Her data demonstrated the exceptional strategic capabilities veterans brought to professional environments. As I reflected on our journey, I realized we had created more than a professional development program. We had created a movement of recognition, empowerment, and transformation. The room was filled with potential. Veterans from different generations connected, shared experiences, and explored unprecedented professional horizons. This was about more than careers. This was about reclaiming purpose, recognizing value, and creating new possibilities for those who had served their country. The mission continues, evolving, expanding, creating new pathways with each passing moment. The invitation arrived on an unseasonably warm autumn morning. A personal letter from the White House, embossed with the presidential seal, requesting my presence at a special ceremony recognizing innovative leadership in veteran professional development. My sister, Rebecca, called immediately, her voice a mix of excitement and professional curiosity. "This is unprecedented," she said, reviewing the details of the invitation. The Presidential Medal of Freedom for Innovative Leadership was rarely awarded to corporate professionals, especially for a program that had fundamentally reimagined veteran professional integration. Charles Montgomery arrived at my office the same afternoon. His typically composed demeanor was replaced by genuine excitement. "This is bigger than Pinnacle Technologies," he said, laying out the potential national implications of our work. Elena Rodriguez had been preparing comprehensive documentation for the ceremony. Her research had become the cornerstone of a national conversation about veteran professional capabilities, transforming how military service was perceived in corporate and governmental environments. Mark Reynolds coordinated with veteran support organizations to ensure our approach continued to evolve. What had started as a single corporate initiative had become a national movement of professional transformation. The White House ceremony was a culmination of our journey. Veterans from different generations filled the audience, each representing a different chapter of military service and professional adaptation. The massive hall vibrated with a sense of collective achievement and potential. My military background seemed to come full circle. From a young Marine navigating complex logistics in challenging environments to standing on a national stage, reimagining professional possibilities for veterans. The presidential address highlighted the comprehensive nature of our veteran professional development program. Not just a recruitment initiative, but a holistic approach to recognizing and leveraging the unique skills military service provides. Unexpected moments of connection filled the ceremony. Veterans approached, sharing personal stories of transformation. A Marine who had struggled with professional transition now led an innovative tech startup. An Army veteran had developed a groundbreaking artificial intelligence platform. Rebecca provided critical legal insights during private discussions with government officials. Her expertise helped shape potential national policies around veteran professional integration. My daughter Emma, now completing her doctoral research, was documenting the broader societal implications. Her work explored the psychological and professional transformation opportunities for veterans. Richard Hartley's continued attempts to challenge our work had become completely irrelevant. The national recognition, comprehensive documentation, and successful outcomes had entirely marginalized his previous influence. The Department of Defense representatives discussed potential nationwide implementation of our veteran professional development model. What had started in a single corporate environment was now being considered a strategic national initiative. Media coverage captured every moment of the ceremony. Major networks and publications explored the transformative potential of recognizing veteran professional capabilities. Charles Montgomery's involvement had expanded into a national advocacy role. He was now actively promoting veteran professional development across multiple sectors and governmental platforms. Elena Rodriguez continued her research, uncovering deeper insights into the unique strategic capabilities veterans bring to professional environments. Her comprehensive data collection was reshaping understanding of veteran professional potential. Mark Reynolds had developed an expansive mentorship network connecting veterans across industries. The professional support system was becoming a powerful catalyst for transformation. International delegations expressed interest in understanding our comprehensive approach. Military organizations from allied countries saw our model as a potential global standard for veteran professional integration. During a private moment before the ceremony, I reflected on our journey. From a single confrontation in a corporate boardroom to a national platform recognizing veteran professional potential, the Presidential Medal of Freedom felt like more than a personal recognition. It represented a collective achievement, a reimagining of how military service could be understood, valued, and leveraged in professional environments. As I stood on the stage, surrounded by veterans from different generations, I realized we had created something profound. Not just a program, but a movement of recognition, empowerment, and transformation. The room was filled with potential. Veterans from different backgrounds connected, shared experiences, and explored unprecedented professional horizons. This was about more than careers. This was about reclaiming purpose, recognizing value, and creating new possibilities for those who had served their country. The mission continues, evolving, expanding, creating new pathways with each passing moment. The winter conference in San Francisco marked a critical milestone in our veteran professional development journey. Technology leaders, military strategists, and corporate executives gathered to explore the next phase of our transformative initiative. Pinnacle Technologies had become more than a corporate success story. We were now a global model for veteran professional integration, with our approach being studied and implemented across multiple industries and countries. Charles Montgomery opened the conference with a powerful keynote, detailing the profound impact of our veteran professional development program. The data was undeniable. Organizations implementing our strategies saw significant improvements in team performance, innovation, and operational efficiency. Elena Rodriguez presented groundbreaking research that went beyond traditional professional metrics. Her comprehensive study revealed the unique cognitive advantages veterans brought to complex problem-solving environments. Strategic thinking, adaptability, and team-oriented leadership were now recognized as critical professional capabilities. Mark Reynolds had developed an advanced mentorship platform that connected veterans across global industries. What had started as a corporate initiative was now a sophisticated international professional network, bridging military experience with cutting-edge professional opportunities. My daughter Emma's doctoral research had become a critical component of our understanding. Her work explored the psychological transformation veterans experienced through comprehensive professional development, revealing deeper insights into professional adaptation and personal growth. The international delegations brought unexpected perspectives. Representatives from allied countries shared how our model was being adapted to their specific military and corporate environments. The universal principles of veteran professional integration were proving to be globally applicable. Rebecca worked behind the scenes, developing legal frameworks that would support veteran professional rights and opportunities. Her expertise was critical in creating comprehensive policies that protected and empowered veteran professionals. A breakthrough came during a closed-door session with technology sector leaders. Our veteran professional development model was being seen as a solution to critical skills gaps in emerging technological fields. The personal stories continued to amaze us. Veterans who had previously struggled with professional transition were now leading innovative teams, developing groundbreaking technologies, and reshaping corporate environments. The Department of Defense representatives discussed potential global implementation of our comprehensive approach. What had started as a single corporate initiative was now being considered a strategic international model for veteran professional integration. Media coverage expanded, with global publications exploring the transformative potential of recognizing veteran professional capabilities. Our approach was challenging traditional understanding of professional development and military service. Unexpected technological innovations emerged from veteran-led teams. A group of veterans had developed an artificial intelligence platform that was revolutionizing supply chain management, directly drawing from military logistics expertise. Charles Montgomery's involvement had transformed into a global advocacy role. He was now actively promoting veteran professional development across international corporate and governmental platforms. Elena Rodriguez continued her research, uncovering deeper insights into the unique strategic capabilities veterans bring to complex professional environments. Her comprehensive data collection was reshaping global understanding of veteran professional potential. Mark Reynolds had expanded the mentorship network, creating sophisticated connections that transcended traditional professional boundaries. Veterans from different countries and industries were now sharing experiences, strategies, and opportunities. A surprise announcement came from a leading technology consortium. They would be implementing a global veteran professional development program based entirely on our Pinnacle Technologies model. My personal reflection during a quiet moment revealed the profound journey we had undertaken. From a single confrontation in a corporate boardroom to a global platform, recognizing veteran professional potential. The conference hall buzzed with potential. Veterans from different generations and backgrounds connected, shared experiences, and explored unprecedented global professional horizons. Rebecca provided critical legal insights during international policy discussions. Her expertise helped shape potential global policies around veteran professional integration and rights. The technological demonstrations were particularly impressive. Veterans were showcasing innovations in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and complex systems management, fields that directly benefited from military strategic thinking. As the conference concluded, I realized we had created something far beyond a professional development program. We had initiated a global movement of recognition, empowerment, and transformation. This was about more than careers. This was about reimagining professional potential, recognizing the unique value of military service, and creating unprecedented opportunities for those who had served their countries. The mission continues, evolving, expanding, creating new global pathways with each passing moment. The final chapter of our journey began on an unseasonably bright morning in Washington, D.C. A decade after that pivotal moment in the Pinnacle Technologies boardroom, our veteran professional development initiative had become a global phenomenon. The National Veterans Memorial Hall hosted a comprehensive retrospective of our transformative work. Veterans from multiple generations gathered, each representing a different chapter of military service and professional adaptation. Photographs, interactive displays, and personal testimonials documented the incredible journey we'd undertaken. Charles Montgomery, now a senior advisor to National Veteran Support Initiatives, stood beside me as we reviewed the comprehensive impact of our program. The numbers were staggering. Thousands of veterans successfully transitioned into meaningful professional roles, billions in economic value created, and a fundamental shift in how military service was perceived in professional environments. Elena Rodriguez's research had evolved into a comprehensive academic field. Her groundbreaking studies on veteran professional capabilities were now taught in leadership programs across the globe. Universities had developed entire departments dedicated to understanding the unique skills veterans bring to complex professional environments. Mark Reynolds had transformed the mentorship network into a global platform that connected veterans across industries, countries, and professional domains. What had started as a corporate initiative was now a sophisticated international professional ecosystem. My daughter Emma, now a renowned organizational psychologist, presented her latest research, a comprehensive study exploring the long-term impact of veteran professional development. Her work revealed profound insights into personal and professional transformation. Rebecca continued to provide critical legal frameworks, now working at an international level to protect and expand veteran professional rights and opportunities. Her expertise had become essential in shaping global policies around professional integration. The personal stories continued to inspire. Veterans who had once struggled with professional transition were now leading innovative organizations, developing groundbreaking technologies, and reshaping global professional landscapes. A special exhibit highlighted the journey that began with a single confrontation in a corporate boardroom. Interactive displays allowed visitors to explore the transformation, from that moment of being called useless to becoming a global leadership model. International delegations continued to study our approach. What had started as a unique American initiative had become a global standard for recognizing and leveraging veteran professional potential. The Department of Defense had fully integrated our comprehensive approach into national professional development strategies. Veterans were now seen as critical assets, not just in military contexts, but across all professional environments. Media coverage had transformed from occasional feature stories to comprehensive documentation of a global professional movement. Our approach had fundamentally changed how military service was understood and valued. Technological innovations continued to emerge from veteran-led teams. The strategic thinking, adaptability, and team-oriented leadership developed through military service were now recognized as critical professional capabilities. A surprise announcement came from a global leadership consortium. They would be implementing a comprehensive veteran professional development program based on our original Pinnacle Technologies model. The personal reflection was profound. From a single moment of professional challenge to a global movement of recognition and empowerment, our journey had transformed countless lives. The Memorial Hall buzzed with potential. Veterans from different generations and backgrounds connected, shared experiences, and explored unprecedented professional horizons. As I looked around the exhibition, I saw more than just a professional development program. I saw a movement of human potential, of recognizing value beyond traditional boundaries. This was about more than careers. This was about reimagining professional potential, recognizing the unique value of military service, and creating unprecedented opportunities for those who had served their countries. The mission continues, evolving, expanding, creating new global pathways with each passing moment. If you enjoyed this story of transformation, resilience, and professional empowerment, please subscribe to our channel. Share this journey with others who might find inspiration in the power of perseverance and strategic thinking.